Hi friends, my name is Candy and this is Sweet Skeins, my 13th podcast, knitting wrap up, so to speak. I am filming about a week later than I wanted to. I was hoping to film at the end of June. Well, technically, I think the end of June, last Friday. But unfortunately, my kiddo was sick and had to come home and hang out with mommy for most of the week from daycare. So I didn't have time to film. And I only have a little under an hour to do this today. So hopefully I can get through it all and we don't have any interruptions. The dog is being a bit whiny, so we'll see. He shouldn't need anything. I let him out not that long ago. But we're gonna go ahead and jump right on in. I have a finished object to share with you, some updates on a couple projects. I think I left one in my bedroom. I did. BRB. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I now have all of the things. 99% sure of that. But I do have, like I said, one finished object, 3 projects to update you on, 2 new cast-ons, and some acquisitions. So we better get started. The first thing is the Starshower cowl by Hilary Smith Callis, the Yarniad. I finished this pretty quickly. It's for my mama. It's her belated Mother's Day present. I have woven in ends but not trimmed one of them, apparently. Oh, either of them. Okay. Last time I showed you, I had not joined in the round yet, so this is exciting. I think this turned out great. I'll put up some pictures over here of the pre-blocking. But I do love this. So you start out in a crescent shape, teeny tiny amount of stitches, work out a crescent shape, and then you work it so far, and then you join in the round, and you have a cowl. So hopefully, Mom, if you're watching, you love it. This is not a surprise. She picked the yarn, she picked the pattern-ish. I picked the pattern, she approved of it, and it blocked out beautifully. I think if she hadn't already laid claim to it, it would be one that I would probably gravitate towards. It looks kind of funny, not on. It's got like a little bit of hump, and I think that's just my tension going back and forth versus in the round. But it's like that, and then where you join in the round and then start working in the round. It does kind of have a little bit of a jog, but no one's gonna notice that. And yeah, like this looks so pretty. Pre-blocking, you'll have seen it. It looks all scrunched, but once I blocked and was able to get the texture to really, the lace work to really show, I think it turned out beautifully. So that is the finished Starshower cowl for my mama. She'll get to have it in her possession, let's see, 2 weeks from date of filming, not from whenever this goes up. So that's my finished object. Next, we have whip updates. Oh, wait, nope, hold that thought. So, my 2500 and 2025. I do have an update here. The yarn from the Starshower is not yarn from pre-2025. I got it at the beginning of the year, so it doesn't count. But I am counting yarn I destashed because it's leaving my stash, and I destashed 210 yards. So I am now down 1,446 grams of that 2,500. So I am just over 1,000 grams left to use for the rest of the year. Feeling really, really good about that, especially considering the 2 new cast-ons I have. One whip, which I don't know if I'll actually finish this year. It's just not gonna see a lot of love, unfortunately. Or it's gonna see love, frequent love, but not a lot of progress because of how much time I'll have you'll understand when I get there. So, feeling good about my 2,500 grams of yarn used or destashed in 2025. And I think that's a good safe number to kind of just use moving forward. Sadly, I've added more, or will have added more by the end of the year than I will have used, but we won't talk about that. All right, now we can move on to the whips. So the first one is my All of the Lights. Last time I was on here, I was almost done with the part of the back that you work flat. I am now done with the back. And I have used I've got all kinds of things going on. And that's just unfortunately the nature of this until you get to start working everything all at once. So the back portion is now complete. It is on scrap yarn, actually left over from the Starshower. I didn't talk about the yarn. How dare I? Okay, back to the Starshower for a second. I used about 70 grams. So I have about 30 left. And this is Hedgehog Fibers Oh So Fine in the colorway Gossip. It might not focus because of the lighting I've got right now. 100% merino wool, 100 grams to 425 meters. So I was hoping that the cow would have used more than this, but that's okay. I've got plenty extra. But I did snag about a yard of it to use to hold my back stitches. Look how cool that turned out. This is upside down. That was the wrong side. The wrong side still looks cool. So here is the right side of the back. Look how fun this is. Just loving how this is working up. And I have picked up and started the first front. I have never, you knit two together, at least on this side, to kind of to trap and use the stitches you pick up along this right here. And I've never actually done that before. I have patterns in my queue that will require that, but I've never done it. So that was a fun experience. And I have I've finished that part where I work just this big cable, and I am now into the full-on patterning. So I will work this to the same spot I stopped the back, and then I will be picking up and working the other front. And then we'll really be flying when I get to go all the way around. But I am really loving this. I will talk about this more in the future, but this is just one of those pick up, do a couple rows, as and when I can. The kids can't be awake or around, so it's not something I will be doing while they're awake. So it really only gets attention at night, and I've just been focused on other stuff. The yarn I'm using is Emma's Simply Spectacular DK in the colorway Mexican Wedding Dress, and this is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 255 yards to 100 grams. So if I actually finish this sweater this year, which we'll see, not counting my chickens, but if I do, that's a lot. No, I bought it this year, so that won't count towards the 2,500, but it's a lot of yarn used, so that's exciting. And the thing I have to remember in my 2,500 in 2025, that's only counting my old stash. The stuff I use and use up that I bought this year is also leaving stash. So I am using more than just that 2,500 grams. Okay, whip number 1 done. Whip number 2, my Boucle Blanket. This one's got a bit of a story. I haven't worked very much on it because I just got kind of frustrated. So here's where I left off last time, green stitch marker. So I have done a decent amount since last time. I have 14 garter bumps of the 23 per color I'm doing. So we're definitely at a nice cozy lap size blanket. And with the larger size of it comes some warmth. So it's summer and I'm in Southern Indiana. So it's a little warm here to be working on a blanket, but in the air conditioning, I find it perfectly all right, and it's mindless. So if we're watching something or if I'm watching TV and the kids are like entertaining themselves, I can pull this out and work on it. So that's nice. So I'm in the April colorway, which is escaping me at the moment. Hang on. April colorway is called Pinecone. So I'm currently knitting Pinecone. You have already seen the May color. French Kitten. So that will would theoretically be coming next. So it's not. It's not gonna come next. I am gonna keep working on this blanket, but in the month of June, the subscription, well, it's not even a subscription, the Yarn Club through a Homespun house shipped late again without any communication as to why it was shipping late. It was probably the 4th out of 6 that shipped beyond what I feel is reasonable, considering there's no communication from the dyers saying, hey, we're running behind, anything like that. I had to reach out to them by email. It took a full week to get a response from them, and their response I did not feel was adequate. I emailed them asking why it hadn't shipped yet, or if it had, could I please have the tracking number, knowing it hadn't because I have informed delivery, and as soon as that shipping label is generated, even when it's coming from out of the country, if it's got tracking, it shows up on my informed delivery. So I knew it hadn't shipped yet, but it took a full week for them to respond, saying that it did ship a week later than they had quoted, saying that it shipped at the end of the 2nd week of June. The listing for the June yarn and the May and the April all state that the yarn will ship the first weekday of the month. Not the first week of the month, the first weekday. So the fact that the shipping label didn't generate until mid-June, that's not just a week late, that's 2 weeks late. So I am no longer going to be ordering from a homespun house, period. End of story. I did get my June yarn. I will still knit with my Homespun house yarn. I have the 2 Boucle colorways left that I haven't started, and I have a skein of sock yarn in stash that I have not knit with, but it's going to look good, so I'm still going to use it. I'm still going to use the yarn. I paid for it. I have it in my possession. I'm going to use it, but I will not be ordering from them anymore, which is where my blanket stalled, because I was like, well, if I'm not going to order from them anymore, I don't know if 6 colors is going to be the size I want. I talked about this in my last video. What if I want it bigger? Well, I did some sleuthing on Ravelry in the yarn part and found a number of dyers that had DK weight Merino Boucle yarn. So in the acquisitions, you will see 3 skeins that I ordered to add to, and so I will have a very lovely, cozy, large Boucle blanket still. But yeah, not going to be ordering from a Homespun house anymore. I feel like their lack of communication is my biggest problem. I shouldn't have to reach out to you saying, hey, where's my yarn, when your website said it was shipped the first weekday of the month. You should be proactive in letting your customer base, the people who have paid you money, that things are running behind. That's all I want to know. Hey, it's not going to get shipped out when we planned due to whatever circumstance. Tell me. Okay, cool. Give me a reasonable time that it's going to be shipped by as an update, and I'll be a happy camper. But that's just not what's happened. And like I said, I reached out to them personally on 2 months, but at least 4 of them shipped more than a week late. So I'm done. I'm done with that dyer. They have beautiful yarn, but I can't in good conscience keep supporting them when they don't have that great of customer service. So you'll still hear about the blanket, you'll still see the yarn because I have it to knit, but that's my saga of a Homespun house and my ordering with them. But so not a lot to update you on the blanket itself. As you saw, I'm still in the same color. I'll be in the same color for a little bit, and I have all of my yarn now. So as long as I still chip away at it, my goal is still to finish it by the end of the month. I have 9 colorways, roughly a month per color. I'm in my 4th color, so I'm in my 4th color, and I have 5 more. So that is 6. I have 6 months left of the year. So I need to finish my 4th color and then get going so I can finish it by the end of the year if I plan on finishing a color a month. Maybe I can finish 2 colors. Doubtful. I'm going on vacation this month in a couple weeks, and I am not taking the blanket with me. It's too big to pack. So just need to finish the 4th color and start the 5th color. We won't aim to finish the 5th color this month, but that's the Boucle Blanket saga. And the last and final whip that I had in progress at the time of the last video but did not have it to show you is my Penguono by Stephen West, my make along knit along with a coworker, Joanie. She is way further than I am. She's probably gonna have a finished sweater by the time I record next, but I have over halfway of the first step. This is my Penguono. It's frankly, it looks like a really easy knit. I just can't get great momentum. I work on this on my lunch breaks at work and not every lunch break, so that's why it's still this size. I am using all stash, DK weight, or fingering that I'll hold double, and I'm basically gonna change colors every time I change what section I'm working on. Like we work this panel, and then I think the next step is to pick up and do stuff like out either side. So whenever I do that, I will change to a different color. All of my yarn is at work, so I have it there. But it's basically leftovers from everything I've made in fingering or DK weight that I didn't want to hang on to for repair purposes. So that's my Penguono. Not a lot to show ya. Kind of feels more like a cast on since it's not actually been shown here before, but I am working on it. I'm knitting this on US 8s or 5 millimeters. The needle and yarn weight is what determines the size. The instructions are the same for every size. You pick the size you want your sweater to end up being based on the yarn weight you use. So I'm doing the instructions using DK weight, and I should end up with one of the smaller sizes. I also didn't really gauge swatch, so I don't exactly know where my gauge is. This is supposed to be just a fun, funky sweater to put on when I'm cold at work. So if it's too big, oh darn, that's the point. So that is my Penguono. We will now move on to my cast-ons. And they're fun. One's much further than the other. I also started it a couple weeks ago. So first up, just like I said I was going to, pretty sure I said it in the last podcast, I wanted to start a Tolsta Tee. So I did. I am into the body. Tolsta Tee. So I did you cast on and then you knit you cast on in the round and then you knit short rows so you get the back higher than the front, and then you do your raglan increases depending on your size. You do some extra increases just for the sleeves. I have tried this on about 4 rows after splitting for the sleeves, and it's gonna have basically 0 ease on me. I'm knitting the size 2. Gauge is mostly spot on, but I should have 1 inch of positive ease, and I might. I didn't try it on appropriately. I had a t-shirt on and not just my undergarments, so that probably affected how it was fitting me, but I should have roughly 1 inch of positive ease, between 0 to 1 inch positive ease. But I am just going to knit this. I'm gonna knit it longer than the pattern because I like my stuff longer than Rebecca Clow or the Crayabea knits her garments. She knits them cropped because she wears the high-waisted pants, and they're perfect length and for her wardrobe and for her look. They look great. I don't dress that way, so I want my tops longer. So I will be knitting this to probably around 11 inches from the sleeve split. And then I'll try it on and see if I'm doing ribbing at that point or if I want to knit it longer. I'd rather have it be too long than too short. So my Tolsta Tee. I am knitting this in Truboo. This particular color I have had for a while. This is the color Raisin. I have finished one whole skein already. I am on my second one. So if I finish this thing in July, which this is something I will take to knit on the plane, to knit when I have downtime, because it's just stockinette. Even when I go to pick back up the sleeves, it'll be stockinette, ribbing, done. So this is probably one I'll take with me, just because it's mindless and I can do it with people around. But yes, so Raisin, I am again knitting it. I'm using DK weight yarn. This is supposed to be DK weight, but I got gauge using the fingering weight instructions. So I am knitting the body with US 4 3.5 millimeter, and I used a US 2 for my ribbing. And I'm getting the gauge of the fingering weight pattern. So I'm using the fingering weight instructions, which I don't care, that's fine with me. I guess I'm a loose, am I a loose knitter? I think I'm a loose knitter, yeah. So that would be why I had to kind of drop down in my needle to get a fabric. I didn't want it too loosey-goosey, but I did meet stitch gauge. Row gauge I am off, and not off enough to be a problem, but I do think my armholes ended up a little deeper than the pattern suggests, which is fine because then I just have a little bit more room, and it's only by, I think, well, let me just look. Oh, sorry, you're wiggling. Trying not to do that to you. Gauge, oh, that's the DK weight gauge, fingering. It's not on there. Oh, fingering is 24 stitches and 32 rows. I'm getting 24 stitches, but 30 rows. So from here to here, I have probably a ½ inch too much fabric. That's not enough to be a problem, at least for me. So my Tolsta Tee, this time, not tank. Working up really, really quickly. I started this a little over 2 weeks ago, and I already have most of the work done. I'm just knitting around in a circle. But yeah, like I said, I'll knit the body to 11 inches from the separation, try it on, and at that point I'll decide if I'm done or if I'm ready to move on to the ribbing. This will probably grow because it is, didn't say that part, 100% rayon from bamboo. So I have seen in project pages on Ravelry that this does grow, so that's fine. I prefer a looser fit these days. I'm wearing a tighter fit, but I prefer a looser fit these days, so I'm fine with it growing a little bit. Like I said, when I put it on, I basically had like 0 to 1 inch of ease, so if it grows a little bit to be closer to 2, perfectly fine by me. If it grows in length, perfectly fine by me, and that's where I'm stopping at 11 inches to see where it sits, because if it's 1 inch of ribbing and it's at a good length or an okay length and then it grows, I'll be fine. If it doesn't grow, I'll still be fine. So that's the thought process there. If you hear some doggy snores in the background, that is the doggy. You might not though. Every time I think you're gonna hear them, you don't. So, and then you hear something else like the furnace. But that is my Tolsta Tee in the works for about 2 to 3 weeks at this point. And that yarn, like I said, I did buy that last year, so it will count towards my 2,500 in 2025. And I do expect to definitely use 2 skeins, if not 3, or at least 2.5. We'll see how far I get with that second skein, and I'll be able to tell you. The last cast on I have, because I said I had 2, is a test knit, one that we're allowed to share, for Alicia Plummer. It doesn't have a name yet, and it doesn't look like much right now. It's also on a slightly smaller cord than I probably would have liked to have used, but it's the biggest one I had, currently not in use for my wooden needles. This is a test knit, like I said, for Alicia Plummer. It is a tank top. It will be a similar style to this, but it's got a split with buttons for right here. So, and I think the straps are gonna be more offset. Like the neck is wider than the one I'm currently wearing, but it is designed to have negative ease. So I am knitting the 32-inch size because my bust is about 33.5 to 34. So the 32-inch size will be right at that 2 inches of negative ease she's recommending. The test knit just started. I cast this on 2 days ago. Yeah, July 1st is when this started. Today is July 3rd. So this is two evenings worth of knitting. The cast on, an inch of ribbing, and then into the stockinette, which, so it doesn't look like much, but this is a fun little test knit. It's got a 6 to 8 week time frame. So I will be knitting on this as my primary focus until it's done. So this will definitely be going on vacation with me because it is stockinette. There's not fancy trickery with it. The only thing I may not have before vacation is the actual buttons I want to use. But I'm also not, I like the look of it open, and in the like picture she put on Instagram when she did the test call, I liked the look of it open. So I don't know that I will ever actually button it. So I'll acquire I'll see when I get to that point if I'm adding buttons or not. She's already given like the all clear to add length. That is perfectly fine. She's fine if we stripe it. I'm not going to. I am using Sandnes Garnalina in, I don't remember the color. In blue turquoise, or color number 7213. I have 5 skeins of this. I shouldn't need all 5. I should only need, I think, 4, but I'm glad I have the 5th because I'm adding length compared to, she has you knit the body before you start splitting for front and back to 9 inches from the cast on edge, and as discussed with my Tolsta, I like longer length. So I do plan on adding 2 to 3 inches, but she told us in the test chat, like how to measure what we're comparing, like what we're gonna use as our like reference for length, and how to determine how much length to add based on that reference tank top and this pattern. So I know I'm adding length. I just don't know if it's gonna be 2 inches or closer to 3 inches. And since it's bottom up, I kind of have to make that call. I can't, like, I could go back and add more, but it would be a lot of work. So at least 2, but probably 3. Depends on how deep her armhole is. And I haven't actually looked at that. It's in the pattern. She gives us the armhole depth, and I hit gauge like smack on, like bang on. I think the gauge is 20 stitches by 28 rows maybe? Do I not have it in here? I thought I had it in here. No, it's right here. Gauge, 20 stitches by 28 rows, and that's exactly what I got on my swatch that I then unraveled. So the Sandnes Garnalina is 53% cotton. Yeah, 53% cotton, 33% rayon, and 14% linen flax. 120 yards to 50 gram balls. I have had this since 2024, so it will also count towards my 2500 and 2025 yarn use goal, use or destash goal. So yeah, I'm really loving it. I am enjoying the work with the Lena. The first couple rows of ribbing were a little rough to like get going. I'm using wooden needles instead of metal for this because I just wanted to have a bit more grip. Same for the Tolsta Tee. I'm using wooden needles for the grip because these two fiber blends are just a little more slippery, a little more splitty, so the blunter ends and the grippier material of the wood versus metal needles is working. But those first couple rows of ribbing were funky on my hands, but now that I'm in stockinette and it's a bigger needle, I'm really flying. It doesn't look like it, but I was really tired last night when I put this down. So this is, again, another one I can work on while conversing or doing whatever, at least until I get to the split for front and back, which I'm a bit of a ways from, but I'll be there before I know it, really, because stockinette just does fly. Okay, I should have enough time to finish this video. I just have my acquisitions left, so if you're just here for the knitting update, that is all I've got for you. I think the next thing I do plan on casting on after I get these summer things finished is finally my weekender that I'm going to do in DK weight instead of worsted, using Edible Thought Makes Ravelry notes. I have enough yarn according to her notes and the size she came out with to get a size I'm comfortable with. So that's going to be the thing I cast on next once I finish both of these current cast-ons. Yeah. Not the whips that I've had going on. No, not those. The new cast-ons. Once those are done, sweater time. So that's all the knitting. Now for the acquisitions, I have a decent amount. 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 5 companies. One I've already touched on. 2 I've talked about before, and 2 new ones. So let's go. We'll start with the Boucle, just because I've already kind of been talking about it, and we'll just go ahead and bust this out. So the June yarn, which, as I said, came late. Shipped late, came late, all of the things. The June color is called Barley. It's a nice color. One I would not buy on my own, but I do like it. It's a tonal. So this is labeled June Boucle Blanket Club, DK, 100% superwash merino, 240 meters or 245 yards to the 100 grams. And so far, the first 4 skeins I had, or at least the February, March, April, have all been overweight. So we'll see if the May and June are, but that is a slight consolation prize. But yes, my last order from a homespun house, and this is the color we ended up with. Like I said, not a color I would have chosen myself, but considering the other colors that have come, one I'm okay with. All right. Because I knew I wanted more, I then sourced out a couple other dyers who do the Boucle, and I had to wing it color-wise because I was like, dang it, what am I gonna do? So I ordered these 2 skeins from the Periwinkle Sheep. It's, again, the Merino Boucle colorway, 140 yards to 100 grams, 100% superwash merino. These skeins look much bigger, but like when I take it strand to strand, they're very compatible. This blue-green, oh yeah, look at that. It's got more blue here, but then more tealy green. This is kind of my outlier color, and I'm putting it smack in the middle. So this is gonna be my next color, just to get it out there, because it is my one outlier, but I think it's cool enough in tone and isn't so bright. Like, it's not so bright, but yeah, it is my wild card, so to speak. And then I'll immediately tone it down with this one, which is a gray and cream kind of tonal in the colorway Ghosts of Molly. Not intentional, but I do find that funny. In case you didn't know, the dyer of a homespun house is named Molly. So not an intentional jab, but I did find that kind of funny. So that is the 2 colors I got from the Periwinkle sheep. I love these 2 together. So it's gonna be an odd, so I'm gonna do these 2 next, starting with this one, then this one, and then I'm gonna bust out the kitten, which should be technically next, and then the June, and then last but not least will be this color from Chelsea Luxe. This is their Luxe Cozy DK 100% superwash merino, 240 yards, so same base. And this color is called Peaches and Cream. And this, we're gonna call it a tonal because there is some sections that are just slightly lighter than the rest, but otherwise it's pretty spot on solid. But yeah, Peaches and Cream light. So I guess they had a darker version. This is not, and this is where customer service is huge. This is not the color I ordered. They emailed me the day after I submitted my order saying, hey, we're so sorry. We were just doing some inventory and we went to pull your order and we don't have the colorway you ordered anymore. We ran out, must have had the inventory on the website wrong. We are so sorry. We still have, and they gave me a list of colors and said I can either pick one of those or they would happily cancel and refund my order. Cool. And if I got back to them quickly enough, they'd ship it out the next day. Awesome. Shipping 2 days after I placed the order? That's like unheard of even for like any company. Like, well, I shouldn't say unheard of. More companies are doing that, but for small businesses to be able to do that kind of turnaround, especially waiting on people and that kind of thing, I was just pleasantly surprised, very appreciative that they quickly told me they didn't have what I ordered and offered me not only a refund, but I could pick another color. Like they gave me all of that in one fell swoop. So I went through and I looked at all the colors, and based on what I had going on here, granted I hadn't seen these yet, but we're gonna end the blanket on Peaches and Cream Light. So this is the second half of the Boucle Blanket, and it's Saga. I have all the colors. I just need to knit them up. Sorry for the crinkles. I had them in a bag that is noisy. Okay, so I have 2 more acquisitions. They're multiple skeins, but same color. So next I have Ruby and Roses. And I saw this color and I fell in love. I mean, look at it. Look at it. It is her soft rose base, which is 85-15 merino and nylon, 437 yards to 100 grams. And this is the colorway The Business of Life. It's got blue, it's got purple, it's got a pink base, pink gray base. So it's tonal, it's speckled, it's gorgeous. I got this to hold double with the pink mohair that I originally was gonna use with Ruby and Roses, the Advent full skein from 2024. But I decided to go and use an alpaca I bought with that and just stick to the like cream tones for my Doppio. And so with the pink mohair and this, I'm thinking Monday sweater. I shouldn't need all 3, but I didn't want to not have enough just doing 2. So I did opt for 3, and it's a pretty enough colorway that if I do have a full skein left over, this would make a great 1 skein shawl. It could be used for socks if I actually get into sock knitting, like I keep telling myself I'm gonna try. Try again, I should say. So I've got options here, but that's Ruby and Roses, The Business of Life. Gorgeous babies. Gorgeous babies. And then last but not least, although the first one to have arrived, since like I've had this in my possession longer than any of the rest of those. This is from Eat Sleep Knit. This is a new base for me. not a new dyer. I've used the dyer before. This is Juniper Moon Farm Cotton and Merino Shadows. They have cotton and merino that's like just solids, and then this is shadows, where the core is one color and then the floof is black. So this is the color Peridot, I think it's Peridot, 203. I got 5 of these, and this is DK weight. It looks huge. Like this is my face. This is one ball. This just looks huge. It's floofy. The website, Eat Sleep Knit, has this listed as a DK weight, which makes sense when you look at the yardage and the grams. This is 100 grams and 229 yards. The ball band says medium, and Ravelry calls it an Aran. And I think it's just because it is, let's see if I can split out just one. There's room to play, basically, is where I'm going with this. Suggested needles are US 7 to 9 or 4.5 to 5.5 millimeter. So what I got it for, I don't remember what I thought I would get it for, but I looked at sweaters and I was like, how much would I need for a DK weight sweater? And that's why I went with 5. Yes, 5. But then I was looking through once I saw it's actually worsted or Aran weight because of how it's put up, like its ply, its structure, and the fluff. I've added it to my queue to make the Salty Days by Veronica Lindbergh. And I think it's gonna be perfect for that because that is tradition, like it's written to use DK weight and a mohair to get that worsted-ish size. So I think this will be perfect as a Salty Days. I'm hoping the lace work and the like texture doesn't get lost because it is the blue with the gray, with the black floof. I originally was gonna get the rose quartz color, but when I actually went to place my order, there was only 4 of those and I wanted to have 5 to be safe for yardage. So I have enough yardage, and this will be a nice like extra layer since it is 50% cotton, 50% merino. No, it's 70% cotton, 30% merino. So it's more cotton than merino. So I think it'll be great as one of those like extra layers on like a summer evening where you just need to, you get the chill, or a fall night, you know, those early fall nights. So this is, I'm thinking Salty Days and this are the perfect pair. We'll see when I actually go to swatch for that, but I will find a use for these because they're gorgeous. Oh, just love it. Okay, that's my acquisitions. That's my time. I need to gather this all back up and contain it so I can go get my son for his doctor's appointment. We're gonna see if he still qualifies for tubes. But yeah, that's all I've got for you today. I'm glad I got to record this, and I will get it edited and uploaded hopefully in the next couple of days. And that way it's only like a week late instead of waiting until the end of July and it being like 2 months since I last talked to you. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've been knitting or crocheting. And if you don't do either of those and you just watch these for the vibes, totally get it. Totally get it. I look forward to sharing my finished summer tops the next time we chat, because that is my goal, to finish at least one, if not both, by the time we talk next. If not, it's fine, no big deal. But I want to thank you for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, do all the things, follow me on all of the places, and I will see you again soon.